Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and yesterday, for the first time in my financial life, I'm age 47 now. I've got a degree an undergrad degree in finance. I've got an MBA. I passed the Series 7, the Series 31 to become a financial advisor, which I am not now. I was a financial advisor. And I have never, ever, until yesterday, heard that money is stored energy. That's a new spin on things. They did not teach me that in school. I feel like I've been ripped off. But this is what Anthony Pompliano said on, I can't remember if he said it on CNBC or on CNN, but anyway, he informed them that money was stored energy in trying to, at all costs, defend Bitcoin. Well, the only stored energy that I could think of, Camo Ammo sent me this morning. Here's some stored energy. These are Bitcoin mining rigs. What a disaster. Oh. What an unmitigated disaster that is. That, my friends, is proof of work at work right there. You want to see, I wouldn't even call it stored energy. Wasted energy is what I would call it. This thing does not end well. I'm going to tell you how I think it ends, but I believe, you are now starting to see the mainstream financial media turn on these Bitcoin maxis and the proof of work thing, and I believe it was all planned. I'm seeing this unfold. We've been screaming this from the rooftops for a long time now, and these guys just now happen to act like they're just figuring this out. I don't believe that at all. I think they knew it all along, and they at some point they've been told to release the Kraken and start leaking out the truth and putting these guys on the hot seat, which is where they should have been all along. Okay, the market has, it put from Elon Musk saying, telling the truth about Bitcoin and all of that. It hit the market, but then the market pulled back, and then it's coming back. Now look, all of the market is still, which is crazy, still affected by Bitcoin, and we're still in what I consider to be just the speculation stage. But as this all sifts out and we move into utility land, then you can forget all this proof of work garbage. The market is going to correct all of this in due time. I think it's probably sooner rather than later, but you'll understand more what I'm getting at as we go along. Dark Defender had put this out about XRP. Hi there. We're discussing the same supports and resistance for a while. XRP looks, she'll again try for 144. If she breaks, then she'll move to the next target. Logic is the same for the supports. I'm thinking that she didn't finalize the move yet. I still think that we must see all-time high. All right. And then Jeremy Hogan had put this out. If you are interested in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, you have got to read this memo of law by Ripple. It's like listening to Zeppelin while driving a Ferrari and sipping on a chocolate milkshake. I'm so excited it brought me out of my 10-day retirement. Video tomorrow morning. And he's retweeting this from this James Phelan for the memorandum. I have not read through it. I'm just going to wait for Jeremy Hogan's video he said he was going to do this morning. And maybe in my next video, I'll play a couple of clips out of that after I watch it. Okay, John Deaton put this out. This is interesting. Glad evidence that XRP holders submitted to the court is helping to bring out the truth. Ripple is citing the 2019 letter by Clayton that's part of the Deaton declaration filed with our motion. I call it our motion because Clayton letter I used was shared by XRP holders, and they're talking about how Hinman came out, William Hinman, and said that he came out and said Ethereum was not a security, and he said his views did not necessarily reflect those of the SEC, but then later, as subsequent filings show, in 2019, the SEC's then chair Jay Clayton agreed with at least part of Hinman's speech. So the way that they did it was such that they could throw their hands up and say, well, this isn't the official SEC, but they left that impression in the markets very obviously. Okay. You got to see this, folks. This lady right here is Kavita Gupta. It's important that you understand who she is an advisor to. That is Consensus. I will show you that in a minute. But once again, CNBC is bringing in all of these people to give you their, quote, professional opinions who have agendas. I mean, they obviously have agendas, and I'll show you. But listen to this.
Here's the question. Are any of these things really currencies at this point? I mean, we can claim they're stores of value. We can claim that people are ascribing value to them. Some people believe that these are the equivalent of various protocols that were built over the years on the internet. The question is, does that have unto itself inherent value or not? So you can have lots of protocols, different technological protocols that are used to transact. But the question is, do they necessarily unto themselves have to have value?
But it all goes back to what do you think is a value? Sitting in US with the USD economy, it's very difficult to think. But if you are anywhere in the world, from Africa, like people went through that in Nigeria, people went through that in Argentina, people are going through that in Venezuela. When you think about you grow up in an economy where you can't trust your government, you can't trust the note which is in your hand has any intrinsic value when you wake up tomorrow morning, then the currency which is not governed by people becomes the most valuable thing. And in fact, even in our country, if we keep on adding deficits after deficits, at what point do we say that the dollar which I hold in my hand is going to have a value tomorrow? And I think that is where we are moving. During the COVID, I strongly believe that during the COVID, one of the reasons for the cryptocurrency to jump up again is that trust factor.
I agree with everything she said except for one thing. That does not, but because the governments are doing this and because they've been destroying the money, which I'm totally on the same page with her on, because of that does not mean that everything has to go to Bitcoin. And the reason is because Bitcoin is an inferior technology. It is not sustainable for a lot of reasons. Why, if we're going to have a store of value, then why do we want to put it in the store of value that's expensive, that's not scalable, and moves slow when we could put it in a store of value that has has fixed all of the problems that Bitcoin has and has the limited amount? That would be XRP. Or there's others. It's not just XRP. There are others. Even Cardano. Cardano is 10,000 times the tech that Bitcoin is. Now, I don't remember if Cardano has a limited amount. The point is that it never had to be Bitcoin. It did not, and they know this, okay? Now I'm going to play you this next clip. The next clip is this, and I just want to play the beginning of this. She never answers his question, but there's two things I want you to get out of this. First, CNBC is finally asking questions about, wait a minute, why is it, who says it has to be Ethereum? Listen to what he says.
I guess my question to you then is, are you a believer that Bitcoin is I don't want to call it the Holy Grail, but is the currency or the asset that given its brand value, we talked to Stan Druckenmiller earlier this week, seems to think that it has a long future. But then how do you think about a Dogecoin that emerges out of nowhere, or an Ether, or look, I'm a big believer in blockchain. I'm also a big believer in great innovation. So I would like to think that 2 years from now, somebody's going to come up with something that's even more clever,
they already have,
and more innovative than Ether, for example.
Flair.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I would divide it into three questions, and very good questions, by the way. I teach class at Stanford beyond Bitcoin.
All right. Now, when I heard she teaches class at Stanford, I decided to go look a little into this. So it's important you know who's talking. This is her right here. She's one of the people, faculty and staff at the Distributed Trust Initiative at Stanford. Well, look who else is on that. Look who else is in it. Susan Athey, a board member from Ripple. So it's not like this woman is someone who doesn't know what she's talking about. But the problem is she's an advisor to Consensus. And who founded Consensus? Joseph Lubin, co-founder of Ethereum. So yeah, she has an incentive to pretend like Ethereum is the end game for smart contracts, and it's not. It's just not, and they all know it. Now, I like what this guy says. Listen to this, because this is where I think we are.
Okay, here's my big question. I want to ask you about crypto, because to me, crypto is in this moment that feels like the late 90s. to me, not necessarily in a bad way, which is to say that, there were so many internet companies that emerged during the late 90s. Many failed, and a couple of them won. And then, of course, the internet.
Has he been listening to my channel? Because I've been saying this for almost 3 years now. You can compare, you literally can compare what's going on right now. Back during the .com, you had all of these companies that had no business plan and had nothing but debt and a .com on the end of them. They went public like a pets.com, and then they just imploded. And what came out of that is eventually the Amazons and the Googles and the eBays and the Pricelines, and a few of them survived. And so some of them actually did have business models. The same thing is happening right now with digital assets. You have a lot of these that look on the surface in this, but this time what's different is the crazy promotion, the marketing program of these proof of work Ethereum and Bitcoin that are being just pumped and pumped and pumped. And I've always thought that some of the same people that were there during .com are the ones that are responsible for pumping what they know is not going to be is not going to come out of this like the Amazon and the Googles and all of those did. They see, I've always felt like these guys see the Bitcoin and the Ethereum, the proof of work that is, as we're going to make our lick on this, and then we're going to switch gears and act like, oh, we didn't know it'd be replaced. And maybe not Bitcoin, but proof of work Ethereum for sure. That's what I think this is. Listen to what they say.
As this remarkable force in our economy. It's very possible in my mind that blockchain similarly does the same thing. The question is, which ones are going to be resilient and which ones aren't? And I think it's very hard to make those picks right now. But given your experience over the years, how do you think about that?
I think you've outlined exactly the way I think about it. And I think that's the smart way to think about it, which is, there are good fundamental reasons why we may have cryptocurrencies and blockchain in the future. They are certainly taking a long time to get here. I will say it's been over a decade and we're still not seeing enormous usage of it, but good fundamental reasons for that. But to your point, that doesn't mean that dozens of cryptocurrencies are all going to do well forever. So to me, at this point, it's just pure speculation. And I say that, and folks like Joe who own Bitcoin immediately sort of take umbrage at that. And I'm not a speculator. Speculating's fine. There's nothing wrong morally with speculating. Obviously, tons of people have made tons of money doing it. It's fun. It's interesting. But if someone is investing, especially in a lot of the cryptocurrencies that are not the big names, we'll talk about Bitcoin in a second, and expecting that they're just going to go up forever and it's just a matter of holding them, then I think that person needs a talking to.
You said you wanted to talk about, give me the Bitcoin piece of it. And the question I'd also ask you is, I remember looking at Amazon in the late 90s. People called it Amazon.con, .bomb. It wasn't preordained just because they had a big brand that it was going to work.
No, absolutely.
And I wonder whether you think the same thing about Bitcoin or not.
No, and I think that's true with other internet stocks too. AOL, Yahoo, eBay, these were all just, they were the blue chips. They were the ones that were definitely going to make it. And as we've seen, one or two of them made it and did really well. The others went basically to zero. So I think with Bitcoin, the big issue is 5 years ago, the story was this is going to be the new money. Everybody's going to use it. Now, everybody understands that it's actually not well designed as a transaction currency.
Is that a fact? Because we've been saying it for a long time. You guys on CNBC are just now starting to acknowledge this.
Hard to do. It's very resource intensive. So the new story is it's going to be the new gold. We're just going to flip into it.
No, that's the new marketing program that they put together because they realized that Bitcoin's white paper, it failed in what the white paper said.
I think that every time we want to save money and so forth, that's possible. I also have heard many people who are way smarter than I am, who invest in a lot of crypto, say that Bitcoin's design is just bad. And eventually, we're going to move on to much more efficient, much better designed cryptocurrency. So if I were Joe and I had a big Bitcoin position, which I do not, that's what I would be worried about. Because at this point, it is just simply a matter of what somebody else will pay for it.
They're starting to tell you the truth. So did Elon Musk. He said yesterday, it's high time there was a carbon tax. Where have you heard this before? And I just happened to be surfing Google today, and I looked down at the bottom. It says carbon neutral since 2007, and I felt compelled to retweet Elon Musk's tweet and say, they don't have to be able to stop Bitcoin. They will control it through carbon taxes. Write it down. Proof of work will be slapped with carbon taxes. I may have to bring my 8-year-old out of retirement to draw you a picture if you aren't seeing how obvious this is. Folks, listen, you have to ask yourself this question. This is the question that I have asked myself for a long time. It's driven me up the wall over the last few years. Is that why have all these people in government let Bitcoin and Ethereum get a free ride? They've let them have a free pass. They've let them go. They just let them go, right? And the Janet Yellens and some of these government officials, every once in a while they would come out, and you could tell that they would say just enough to let you know they don't really like Bitcoin, but they let it go. Well, here's one reason they'd let it go, is so that all of that money flowed into it, knowing that they were going to slap it with one big fat carbon tax. That's one reason they would let it go, is because it was always the plan. That's just me talking, folks. Crypto Dim, look at this. So the SEC, now think about this. This is a great point. The SEC has been staring. If anybody on this planet has been causing a manipulation of the crypto market, it's this one man right here. And so they go after Ripple, and they don't do a thing to this guy while almost on a daily basis, he's manipulating the markets. And listen to what he said about the SEC.
Look at you.
No, I want to be clear. I do not respect the SEC. I do not respect them.
But they go after Ripple, who's tried to work with them all this time. And now, speaking of damage that's been done to Ripple from the SEC lawsuit, here is, what was his name again? Alex Holmes from MoneyGram. Listen to what he says about Ripple.
Gentlemen, Alexander, this isn't your first foray into crypto. Of course, you had a deal with Ripple. Is this a replacement of that? That deal has fallen apart, I guess. Is this a replacement of that deal?
Not really at all. What we were doing with Ripple was very different. And actually, we were looking at Ripple and utilization of their ODL product and RippleNet to think about the actual flow of the funds, right? With what we're doing with Neil and CoinMe, this is much more about moving fiat into the CoinMe wallet, if you will, and then allowing consumers to buy Bitcoin once it's in the CoinMe network. After that, they can obviously trade Bitcoin, do what they want with Bitcoin, and then if they want cash back, they can actually then sell that in the CoinMe network and then pull that out in cash into the MoneyGram network and into your pocket. So from that perspective, it's totally very it's unfortunate what happened with Ripple. It was a great pilot for us and really moved us, I think, progressively forward in blockchain and sort of what was happening in the crypto world. And obviously with the challenges that they're facing today with the SEC and government regulation, which continues to be a big topic in the crypto space, it made it very difficult to continue to operate, particularly in the United States. But we'll see where that goes down the road. And I do think that there is a continued future and an opportunity in blockchain and perhaps in.
All right. So thanks a lot, SEC. Judy Shelton, exclusive Fed privately presses big banks on risks from climate change. Now, folks, now, if this is going on, and here's what it says. The Federal Reserve has asked lenders to start providing information on the measures they are taking to mitigate climate change-related risks to their balance sheets, according to 4 people with knowledge of the matter. So the question is this. So if any companies out there were buying Bitcoin for their treasuries, at what point are the feds going to come after them and say, wait a minute, this doesn't help the climate? And you're buying Bitcoin for your treasuries? That's not good for the climate, right? Does my kid need to draw you a freaking picture, folks? And then this came from, this was from Cointelegraph. IRS will seize your crypto if you can't pay back taxes. If you're a cryptocurrency holder with past due debts, your provable holdings may be confiscated by the IRS if you don't pay back what you owe. That is part of the reason you want to have an iTrustCapital IRA. I have 2 of these. They are a sponsor of mine. If you go in the description of my videos, you will see links to iTrustCapital. There's also a video in there where I did an interview with the COO. But what I did is opened a Roth IRA, and I also got a SEP IRA. And these accounts are either tax deferred or tax free, depending on the type of account. You can also roll over your an old 401k, or if you lost your job, you can roll your 401k into an iTrustCapital IRA. There's all kinds of ins and outs of all that, and you can get in touch with them. I've also got a coupon code where you can get 1 month off for free in the description of my video. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that the IRS is not, you better pay your taxes in crypto, because these jokers will find you. So don't ever think that you're going to be able to get away with not paying